Hi friends, welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at the Beak by Harnds. A number of you asked for the video of the Field Bro by LBRY knives on the unboxing video that I did, and then when I unboxed these guys, a lot of you guys were talking about the Beak. And so this is the review for the Beak. I'm recording this just a day before we're leaving to go to Ontario, so I will edit it on the road or when I get to my parents or something, and then I'll post it, as well as another video that I'm going to record right after I record this one, and that's for a CJRB knife. So the Beak is a knife with a sort of beak shape to it. You've got an access lock, and you've got 14C28 in steel, and it comes in 3 colors of G10. This bright yellow, a sort of electric green, a little different than the zombie green kind of color, but quite similar, and black handles. If you're interested in this knife, stick around. The full review's coming right now. Beep. So here we go, the Harnds Beak. It says Beak right there. Underneath that, 14C28N Sandvik steel. Harnds knives a few of them have been tested. If you know about Lee at Love Them Knives, he sort of orchestrates testing of knives, testing steel, what type of steel it is, if it really is the steel that it says, and its hardness. And the Harnds knives that he's had tested came back being the steel that they claim to be. So that's one good thing about Harnds knives. If you've never heard of Harnds knives before, I do have several Harnds knives videos, and I really like most of what they make. It's, of course, another Chinese company. And it used to be, when I started this channel at least, you could only find them in Chinese retail stores. Now, stores like stores like White Mountain Knives has these Harnds knives in. Power Cutlery is also an American knife store. They carry Harnds, but they haven't got much new stock in for quite a while. I think he's being affected by this COVID thing and packages not coming through as easily. The best price to get them that I found was White Mountain Knives. They're $29.99 there, US dollars. Take off 10% with my coupon code CCE. And now your price is $26.99. So $26.99 US for a nice knife that's 14C28N. It might just be exactly what you want. Let's go over the basic things about this blade. They call this a beak. It's got this beak style blade. With a sort of drop point that comes way down, and then a front recurve, and then most of the knife is a belly. So it's great for slicing if you want a belly that way, but this recurve section can also work very, very well in your favor. And if you just don't like it, over time you can sharpen this tip back a little bit and just make it all belly all the way. In fact, when you're sharpening it, you might have to be careful that you don't do that. Sometimes people put a lot of extra pressure on the tip when they're sharpening. If you want to keep this recurve, you got to be careful of that. It's got a high saber grind. That's a flat grind. We've got jimping along the recurve section of the spine of the blade, and then a thumb ramp section's got jimping. You've got a thumb stud that's adjustable. A T6 screwdriver. You can loosen this up and move it anywhere on that section that you want it. And that means, depending on how your thumb is, you can have it way out here if you need to get behind it, or if you've got smaller fingers, you might want to put it further up that way. The reason up this way is better is the further away it is, the more slice through room you have. Some things when you slice through them, they might get caught on a pocket clip, on a thumb stud. So for you, you might move it further back, and the further back you are from there, the easier stuff can pass by it. So that's interesting. You don't see that very often at all. Also, this forward choil has got jimping on the blade section as well. You sometimes see jimping on the G10 section or whatever material they use, but it's kind of rare to see jimping on the blade section. Because the blade is thin there, that jimping can feel a little aggressive if you're pushing pressure that way. And usually that's not a problem because you're putting pressure on this section here, you're pulling back. Except for maybe if you're doing a very big pinch this way to do some delicate work. I found when I was trying to put my thumb up in this section of the jimping, I was putting a lot of pressure here, and that was getting kind of hot on my index finger. Well, one big problem in my right hand is I got this huge scar right here. So, that can create a problem for me that way. In the left hand, it wasn't as big of a deal because I don't have that sensitive side of my finger, although I've got some scars there as well. Not a big problem. I would prefer it if that was a little softer though. You've got jimping on the handle back here on the belly side, and the spine is just all clean except for the liners are revealed right here, and there's jimping there for your thumbs. So your thumb can get good grip here, and good grip way up here. And it adds to the look of the knife as well. It's put together with 3 body screws, so that helps make it quite strong. These 2 body screws are just through G10, and this body screw is through a small liner, and of course the pivot is through a liner too. So kind of like the video that I did of the LBRY Field Bro about the small size liner, this knife takes it another step forward and has the liner just on the front half. I'm not going to take it completely apart because I don't like taking access lock knives apart, and I don't have time to take it apart and put it back together and everything right now because I'm packing for my trip, and so I'm quickly recording this video here. The access lock is very, very well done. I did some spine whack testing, so it's locked, and I took a stick and I was whacking in the back, making sure I was clear of the direction that the blade would go if it would let go. But it didn't let go, and it was in perfect working order when I was done, just as well as it was before. Now, I do my knife reviews in factory state, so I've not lubricated this, I've not changed it in any way, I just test it, and apparently they must have had a fair bit of lube in here because you can see there's some darker lubrication right there. It's well lubed. I like the recessed screws. So it's not just recessed and then used button screws. It's recessed and they have flathead screws. I really like that. Usually you only see that on more expensive knives. Like I said, this one is not expensive. And then they put a tube for the lanyard hole. Again, something that they usually only do on more expensive knives. So I like those touches. Pocket clip is deep carry, and it's quite deep. It says Harnds on the pocket clip right there. And it's right and left. And it is a budget knife, so I really don't mind that they didn't put a plate that you could keep in there, but that would have been a nice touch. And what Harnds likes to do is they put their H on the pivot pin. I like that quite a lot. And then, of course, that's the side to adjust. I haven't double checked it yet, but I'm assuming it's not free spinning, just like the other pivot pins and the other Harnds knives that I've looked at, if memory serves. Nice chamfering all over the G10 and up here as well. And they're not super crisp edges, so very comfortable in my hand. A regular saber kind of grip, fist grip, forward grip. They're all very comfortable. Reverse grip, very comfortable. A reverse pull grip is quite nice as well, very comfortable. It's a well-designed knife, a really good shape. In the left hand, it's quite nice. And this knife in the right hand is better than the left. Although it's fully ambidextrous, I just found it to be, I don't know why, but it's the pocket clip. My left hand, sometimes my fingers got onto odd spots in that pocket clip, mostly this middle finger and on the head of the pocket clip, or the end of the pocket clip right there. That's a pretty minor thing, not a big deal. I just wanted to let you know, but if you're a lefty, you're going to put the pocket clip on the other side anyways. And so that's gone. That's not going to be a problem for you. It's just a little hot on the left hand when the pocket clip is right-handed. So let's go over all of the specs and information. And while I'm talking about that stuff, this will be on the screen. The weight of this knife, 101 grams, 3.55 ounces. Very good weight. Sharpness, 135 best. 200 and less is considered sharp. So this came quite sharp from the factory. The length of the cutting edge, 7.3 centimeters, 2.88 inches. The length of the blade from tip to the closest spot of the handle is 8.71 centimeters. That's 3.43 inches. The blade thickness up here at the flat on top here is 3.18 millimeters, which is 0.125 of an inch, exactly an eighth of an inch thick. The blade depth, and I measure an inch up from the end of this choil, so it's not the widest spot, but that's where I measure it, so I try to be consistent. 2.43 centimeters, 0.958 of an inch. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, again, about an inch up, right about there. 0.43 millimeters, that's 17 thousandths of an inch. Nice and thin behind the grind, so you'll be able to sharpen this thing a lot of times before it gets to 20 thousandths, and that's usually considered a standard thickness. So, handle length, 11.64 centimeters, 4.58 inches. Grip area, well, if you include this section here, that's about 12.5 centimeters, about 5 inches, maybe just a tiny bit less. The handle thickness, 1.26 centimeters, which is 0.498, so half an inch thick. The handle depth, that's this measurement, it's biggest right about here, 2.5 centimeters, 0.983 of an inch. When the knife is closed, the widest section's right there, and that is 4 centimeters, 1.58 inches. And the total length of this knife is, oh, I forgot to put in the centimeters, 7.9 inches. Centimeters is on the screen. The access lock works very well. The spring tension on it is very good. It's exactly what I want the spring tension to be on an access lock. See that? I can flip it open and closed every single time. Pocket clip, is it functional? It's got button screws there. That looks like a small space. Is it going to work on a pair of pants? Well, let's demonstrate. So there's my stand-in jeans. If I come over, it rides over the edge very easily, so it's not like it gets caught there. And put it in, and it just goes all the way down. Every single time, no matter how I'm pushing it, that's not a problem, at least not on these jeans. It rides all the way down. You have just a little bit of the handle sticking out there. Of course, if you buy the black one, it's going to be a little bit harder to notice, but that's not an awful lot. A lot of good things about this knife. This might be the best $27 knife that's on the market right now. If you don't mind recurve, and it's just a short section that's recurve, you can always buy narrow stones to sharpen with. Those narrow stones can easily sharpen this very gentle recurve right here. I use those stones quite a lot. I'm just going to read over my pros and cons. The blade shape is quite uncommon. The adjustable thumb stud is very uncommon, and I like both. They're all pros. Very good action with that pocket clip, with the access lock. Alignment when the knife is closed is excellent. Very, very good. Very comfortable in the hand for any kind of grip that you want to grip it with. It just works quite well. The reverse pull grip is the one that's a little bit wonky, but that's on most knives. Very comfortable. Pocket clip is deep carry, and it's right and left, so that's very good. I thought these forward jimping things are a little bit useless, but it's not a big con or anything. Decoratively, it adds to the look of the knife, I guess. I like the pocket, the pivot pin. I like that they put their H there. I like that kind of touch a lot. With having the H there and Harnds there, I think they could have done without that on the blade. I like this tube here for the lanyard, although I prefer lanyard holes that are set in so that they don't add bulk when you've got your paracord through there or whatever you're using. Look at that, that's all the cons. And the only real jipping is, the only real cons are so tiny. This jimping here, and it doesn't need its name twice. Maybe just put your name on there once. If anybody from Harnds is listening, it only needs your name on once. But I guess you might like it, once when your blade's out and once when you're showing off in the pocket. But this is just fine. If your knife is cool enough, people are going to ask what the name is. You don't need to show it off too much. So there you go. That is the Harnds Beak, yellow, bright green, and black. And hopefully it'll get back in stock. I found it on Amazon as well. I found it on stores like GearBest and AliExpress, the places where Harnds was only available before. Those prices are $35 US, whereas you can get it for $27 US from an American store. So the Chinese stores are charging way too much for this Harnds knife. But if you don't live where you can buy it from an American store, then maybe that's what you're left with. So I've got links down below for GearBest and for AliExpress. If you use the GearBest links, those do help me out a little bit. I still have a associate relationship with GearBest. They don't ship to Canada, at least not knives, but they'll ship to a lot of other European countries, I guess, and to the United States as well. So that's everything I wanted to tell you about this knife. I'm really, really liking it. And of course, I'm going to make this knife available to the Patreon winner at the end of the month. I could always get another one for my permanent collection. So thank you for watching my little video. Please comment, leave a comments down below. That really does make a big difference. Thank you for liking, hitting that like button, sharing this video with somebody. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.